Thanks for taking us through the evolving landscapes of development sector. You not only put forth the health challenges the country faces today, but also enlightened us with the imperativeness to forge cross-sectoral partnerships. Sure, under your leadership, we shall see better and abler models of partnerships emerging and models of innovation being put forward. One of the basic questions with partnership is how. Thanks, sir, for touching upon this very basic but pertinent point. CSR has shifted from charity-based approach to responsibility-based approach. Better approaches have emerged. Newer models have built in CSR. Companies are moving forward with the idea of shared value. The concept has been viewed differently with different lens. Some leaders see it as giving back to the society, while some others see it with the lens of reputation management, hedging business risk, and internal path correction. A proactive framework for corporate social responsibility holds opportunities to positively engage with external stakeholders, address the expectations of the community, enable ease of business activities, and help map future business models. To elaborate further on these CSR models, partnership, policies, and approaches, we have with us Bhargav Das Gupta, Managing Director and CEO, ICICI Lombard GIC Limited. He began his career with the erstwhile ICICI Limited in 1992 and has held key leadership positions in diverse business areas in the ICICI Group, including project finance, corporate banking, e-commerce, and technology management. Sir, we would like to hear from you and learn from your experiences.
So, good evening, my co-panelists and all of you. You know, when I got this invite to come to this panel discussion, the first thought that came to my mind is, why me? I can't claim to be a specialist in CSR. We do a bit of health financing, but that doesn't make me a specialist in healthcare. So when you're looking at, CSR through healthcare, I was really feeling, out of my place. And when I came in late, thanks to a slightly late flight. And when I listened to Dr. Chatterjee, that feeling got even more severely anchored, having come in the suit that I did. And interestingly, Dr. Chatterjee, he referred to, executives in the 26th floor. Our office is 4th floor, but it so happens the residence where I stay is actually 26th floor. Was talk a bit about, some of the approaches that we've taken in terms of addressing, this challenge. When we, at the group level thought of, how do we look at, giving back to society in a smaller manner that we could. One of the things that we did in ICICI Foundation, which is a group level initiative, is to say that all of us will contribute 1% of our profits to that foundation. This was a few years back. Now, over the last 5 years that I've been in that governing council, we've had, one of the big challenges that we've consistently faced is 1% of our profits is fine, but how do we know that the money that we're spending is being spent well? And how do we find, approaches which are scalable, which are innovative, which reach the people in a most effective manner? And honestly speaking, when this new bill came in, top 15 companies in India, except for one, none of us included, spend more than 1%. Don't spend 2% of the profits of the last 3 years. So the amount that people will have to spend, going ahead will be significant. And the real challenge in my mind is not just the fact that, everything that Dr. Chatterjee said, all of which are very, very important points. To me, the other real challenge is how do we find scalable models so that the money that we are going to spend is spent effectively. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a couple of examples of what we've tried to do. Not to say that they're the best examples, but this is what we can talk about, having done only those things. And the entire focus for us as a health insurance player has been in areas which are relevant to our areas, which we understand and we believe we can contribute sensibly. We, at a foundation level, we focus on education, we focus on livelihood, we focus on health. But as within that, in ICICI Lombard, we focus on health and, areas around roadside accidents which are relevant to our businesses and which we believe we understand and we are able to contribute in some way or form, not just monetary, but in some thought leadership. So I'll just talk about a couple of examples of what we've done and leave that as ideas which may be useful for you, and hopefully will plant some seeds of thought in terms of looking at scaling models. I think what Dr. Chatterjee said is very, very relevant. As we scale up as organizations, it's beyond our capability to do all of these things ourselves. We need partnerships with NGOs who are able to scale businesses to the level which can absorb this amount of funding that is going to come in. So one of the things that when we looked at healthcare, the obvious challenges that all of us know about the Indian healthcare sector, which is roughly about 300,000 crores of spend, about close to 80% of the money is spent out of pocket, which means that when there is an health event, people have dip into their savings. They don't have government hospitals that they can go to where quality healthcare is provided, and equally they don't have insurance penetration where they pay when the insurance companies pay. The 75 to 80% out of pocket payment is one of the highest anywhere in the world, and it's a big shame that even today that we have that kind of number. The other aspect, if you look at Indian healthcare system, is over the last 60 years, while we've tried to develop government healthcare model, the issue has been in terms of quality, particularly in the rural segments. Quality as also access, of quality healthcare. So if you look at the healthcare scenario, I've just got some numbers for you. In terms of the population of India, 70% are in villages, 40% of the hospitals are in villages, only 20% of doctors are in villages. And even this number is questioned because it's a question of whether they're really available when you are saying they are available. So there's a question of the challenge of lack of medical and diagnostic infrastructure. If you see the amount of travel that people have to do to access healthcare in the villages is huge, 9 kilometers on average. In effect, 700 million people of India don't really have access to quality healthcare of the type that we would want to see them have access to. Bed density, India is an abysmal figure in terms of global, as compared to WHO or standards or global averages. The rural India is even more pathetic. And it's not as if rural India doesn't suffer from diseases. I mean, this is the share of diseases in rural India, compared to what we otherwise tend to believe. We believe that it's typically the non-communicable diseases are urban center problem. That's not so, as per the statistic. So one of the things that we were trying to do as a company, we've been doing a lot of work in the government-sponsored RSBY scheme, which is a smart card-based solution. But that scheme really pays for secondary treatment, for hospitalization, IPD treatment. So one of the things that we've been kind of working with the government is to say that can we find a solution to the other 70% of the cost? Because if you look at the overall healthcare spends in India, roughly 25 to 30% is IPD, and the balance is actually OPD, where people don't get hospitalized. And particularly for the rural segment, population, that's actually a much bigger issue. And can we find a solution to that problem? It's not an easy solution to find through insurance, simply because the ability to control the spends, control misuse, abuse, and fraud, as we call it, is a huge challenge. So we've been kind of working on this for the last 3-4 years, and over the last year and a half, we finally decided that no one is going to do this if we don't step in. And so what we did was we got ICICI Foundation to partner with us and ILO and Ministry of Labour. So ICICI Foundation gave a grant, CSR grant, to fund this initiative. ILO gave some amount of money. And we said that let's use a technology-driven solution to provide OPD solution on top of it, the IPD solution that RSBY provides. So what this does is on the same smart card that I'm assuming that most of you would be aware of the RSBY product, where it's a card-based insurance scheme that the government of India runs. So on top of it, we gave this amount for OPD care, where on the same smart card we loaded a certain amount of spends, which basically allowed the family to get treated during the year 10 times in a set of diagnostic centers. We've piloted this in two districts, in Mehsana in Gujarat and Puri in UP, in Orissa. The whole idea was to test it out in one of the poorest parts of the country and a slightly more affluent part of our country, to see what the learnings are. And what is interesting is this entire process runs on technology. It's paperless, it's cashless. The entire enrollment process is when a person comes in, the enrollment happens at the enrollment camps. When the customer gets a smart card, when the customer or the patient visits the OPD center, they have to swipe the card and confirm it's their own card through their fingerprint. So it's a two-factor authentication there. The treatment happens at the hospital. What we've done, there's a printer, so there are 3 printouts that come out in terms of what treatment has been done. The mobile phone has the application, and the mobile phone and this device can be read through Bluetooth. And there's a thumb, a reader, thumbprint reader, as also a smart card slot. So all of that is in that small device that you see. And based on that, we are able to see, the amount of treatment that is happening at each center, what type of treatment, what type of diseases are getting treated, and all of this is done real time. Again, this is, we've been trying to find solutions which are low cost, and we believe mobile solutions is the way to go. And we are trying to find solutions where we are on top of the processes real time. We don't have to wait, and go back to the rural markets later to figure out what is happening on the ground. We believe this is a way to at least control some of the misuse and abuse that I talked about, which is something that insurance industry faces, every single day. And this is a solution that we found. What we've achieved here is, over the last about year and a half, we've enrolled about 2 lakh individuals. Typically in a month we get 15,000 claims, typical OPD claims. And till now the process seems to be working. The challenge for us, and again, there is scope for partnership, with people, is how do we scale this to a much larger context? Obviously this amount of, the amount of CSR funds that we've given is adequate for only 2 districts. And that's not, we have 600 districts to cover. And whether this is also the solution for that problem is also something that we should debate. Because this is one way of approaching the, problem of healthcare in the ground. But the issue, the point that I wanted to make is, at the end of the day, we have to find solutions which are innovative, which are creative, which is low cost, which uses technology. And to be able to deliver a solution, which in the past for over 60 years, we as a nation haven't been able to. And I think this is where private sector comes in and plays a role in not only contributing finance, but in terms of contributing ideas and solutions which drive efficiency and drive cost, while we work in partnership with some of the other players in the market. The other case study that I want to touch upon is not a really healthcare example, but again, it's linked to our capabilities in the healthcare side. One of the challenges that we face in India is roadside accidents. And, India has 1% of the traffic, the vehicles of the world, but 6% of the total road accidents in the world. And, the studies show that if you can reach the accident victim within 1 hour, it's called the golden hour, the probability of survival is significantly higher. So this is not a CSR initiative, but this is an initiative we contributed a very small amount of CSR money, but the real money came from, the Ministry of Surface Transport, which said that in one route can we find, which is this NH8 between Gurgaon and Jaipur, can we find a way of bringing in private sector to work again in partnership with players to see if we can provide access or provide this coverage within the first golden hour. Again, here we work with some corporate, some other entities and NGOs. And we've, rolled out an initiative where there are ambulances at, every 50 kilometers. The entire thing is tracked through GPS. The ambulances are very high quality. I mean, these are, very top quality ambulances. And I think the company which runs this is going to speak in this seminar. So we're working in partnership with them. And, this is something that we've just launched, about a month and a half back. Initial response is still a bit of a challenge in terms of we need to do a lot more work in terms of awareness building. But already we are seeing about 5-6 accidents that we address every single day in the most efficient, cost-effective manner, while providing good quality of care to our people. And to me, the biggest challenge lies in finding solution to the rural market. I'm sure in the urban market there are huge amount of problems, and we will have to find solutions to that. But the challenge in the rural market is huge, and we probably can come together and work together to find solutions through our, some of our learning, some of our processes that we have, some of the technology capabilities that we have, along with the outreach that you have, and the funding that comes in for the private sector to find solutions to the rural market. Thank you.